This is Kay Kritiques. Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Kay Kritiques, where we discuss all things South African television. And in today's episode we are reviewing and recapping Law, Love and Betrayal Season 1 Episode 3, titled Fake Agent. Without any further ado, let us get into it. So this episode was mainly focused on the Beats by Knox case, but before we get into all that juicy stuff, let us talk about everything else that happened in the episode. I finally know the name of Gugu's boyfriend. We are on episode 3, and for the past 2 episodes I have been wondering, what is this guy's name? His name is Thabo. Now I have a name to be able to reference him to, Thabo, instead of saying Gugu's boyfriend all the time, right? We see them, it's in the morning. Gugu only has one clean shirt for work. She hasn't done laundry, and I'm confused as to why she hasn't done her own laundry, right? And Thabo spills coffee all over it. They get into an argument, and there's one key thing that Thabo says that I feel like is going to be the stumbling block of their relationship. He says everything is always Thabo's fault. When he said that, I knew that this was going to be the tension in their relationship moving forward. Anyways, we get over that. Gugu has to make a plan because all her clothes are dirty, or all her professional clothes are dirty. But luckily Gatsha called in sick, so he wasn't in the office to see, because everybody was making it seem like a big deal. I didn't think it was a big deal. I thought she looked normal. She looked fine for a day in the office. It didn't look out of sorts. It's not like she was wearing jeans. She was still wearing a suit. It's just that her top wasn't a shirt. Boyfriend is dropping Gugu off, and I remember I said this in episode 1 that there's gonna be a day. It hasn't happened yet, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna happen pretty soon. But we see that Gugu's boyfriend drives a rattle trap. Iskorokoro. I finally found the English word for iskorokoro, which is a rattle trap. Gugu's boyfriend drives one of those, and it literally starts steaming and blowing out smoke in the parking lot. And guess who is behind the rattle trap? In his Mercedes, James. And I knew this was gonna happen. I predicted that James would be the breaking point of their relationship, because Thabo and James are two polar opposites. That James is the successful one, charming, has all the wealth, has all the prestige, and Thabo is a hustler, is trying by all means, but nothing seems to work. Even through their cars, you can see that, right? So the car breaks down in front of James's Mercedes. And this is already setting it up perfectly, because I honestly thought that the car would break down at some point and Gugu is gonna need a lift, and I thought maybe James would be the one to carpool with her. But we're having this conversation where the boyfriend is looking for water to cool down his car, and James is like, oh, your brother. And that also let me know that James literally, first of all, doesn't view Thabo as any competition to him, and second of all, views Gugu as game. He didn't think that she even had a boyfriend. He called her coffee girl in the previous episode, and I feel like he's now going to clown Thabo for iskorokoro sake that blows smoke out of nowhere. We see him say, oh, your brother needs to sort it out with the mechanic, and Gugu's like, oh, that's not my brother, that's my boyfriend. And James is like, doesn't seem the type. You need a certain type of crazy to date a lawyer. And I was like, oh, is he saying he's up for the challenge, or what's going on? Maybe I'm just imagining things. Maybe it's something that I want to happen, because that would be the normal thing that would happen, that Gugu and James end up together. Maybe I'm playing into the cliche, but the way they behave around each other, I have a feeling that it's gonna happen. And I'm sorry for pushing this propaganda, but I need it to happen, because we'll get into the boyfriend, but for now, let us move ahead. Sam's brother, who was unlawfully arrested because of traffic fines, and Gugu actually helps out with that. I actually thought there was going to be more to that story, but it really wasn't. So I feel like every episode we're going to have minor cases that are of no significance, and then we always have the bigger case. Because in the previous episode we had Lwazi's divorce case, which didn't really amount to anything because we never see that resolved. We didn't see how it played out. Did they divorce in the end, or maybe we're still going to see more of that, and that's also going to help with James's character development with seeing the boy once again. I don't know what's going to happen. And then we also had the Mokoena case, which was a big case. We see Fairs talking to Gugu, and he's like, you're late and you're coming from Tembisa. You can't be dealing with this in traffic. You have to be professional. So I'm going to give you somebody's number who's going to have good apartments for you, and they're going to give you a good deal, a good discount. Just contact Nina. The name of the woman is Nina, and it's like, just contact Nina and just go and view the apartments. It's going to help you. It's going to be closer to work, and you won't have to deal with traffic and all of the stuff and being late all the time, because that is going to get you into trouble. Luckily, Gatsha, like we said, wasn't in this episode. He was called out sick, so he wasn't in the office to actually see her coming late and stuff like that. I can't wait until Gugu starts bawling. Right now, it's not cute. It's not giving. But for now, let us get into the Beat by Nox case, and then we're going to discuss Gugu's apartment hunting towards the end of this review. So we have our Beat by Nox case. Noktula Nox is a famous influencer who has a makeup brand, and her management company doesn't want to give her ownership over her own company, and this management company is called Stars of Africa, otherwise referred to as SOA. And I'm not gonna lie, this case reminded me of Bonang's case, and they made it so obvious, especially when they quoted her, they have to talk about you, because if they talk about themselves, no one listens. And I like that, because even Sokulo and Partners did the same thing. They use relevant and current cases. But anyway, so the management company doesn't want to give her ownership over her own makeup line, and they say she has to buy her brand back. And I don't know how that works. How do you buy your own brand back from somebody who doesn't own it? Nox goes onto social media to say there is no deal, going off on social media, going live and telling her fans, no, I don't want to sign a deal, they're going down and I'm gonna win this case, blah blah blah. And essentially she breaks her NDA, and that puts them in a bit of a bind. Ayanda is furious at this, because Nox is her friend, but at the same time, you're my client, and as my client, you're acting pretty stupid, but as my friend, I'm very proud of you for standing your ground. But from now on, I'm gonna need to take your phone away from you, and I don't want you on social media. I don't want you to post. I just need you to keep quiet and let me do my job. Company actually wants to sue her for breaking her NDA, and we see one of the lawyers. His surname is Nkabinde. I still don't know his name, but he was the guy who was opposing them in the Mokoena case. I forgot his real name, like the actor's name. I forgot it. But he's acted in quite a bit. He acted in How to Ruin Love. He's acted in Ring of Lies, I think. So we're adding more characters and more faces to our story, right? So I feel like he's still going to be a big player in the near future. He's gonna become like a regular supporting cast member. I really do hope so, because I enjoy seeing the squabbles, and even though they're all opposing each other in court, but all of them are cordial with each other. They all have a civil relationship. Some of them are even friends outside of the courtroom. They wanted to sue her for the NDA, and she starts going live. They're like, oh, we're gonna add criminal injuria to our court case. And I'm like, I don't know what criminal injuria is. And I wish that they did it in such a way where if a new term that we don't know comes up, maybe they put it up on the screen to describe what it means. Like put maybe like criminal injuria, and then just give a layman's term of what it means so that we understand and go along with it. Nox really did ruin it. And they actually find out that she signed a contract where the fine print clearly states that they can distribute and they can do things without her permission or without her knowledge, and she signed that over because she trusted the guy. And it's like, no matter how much you trust the person, you always have to read the contract and read the fine print. James says to pull the plug. Yes, she's your friend, but you need to pull the plug and you need to let this woman go as your client because she is causing a headache. And Ayanda's like, oh, it's because you don't want me to be senior partner, and if I win this case, it's gonna strengthen my case. And James is like, insecurity doesn't suit you. I gagged. I was like, oh, James. To me, it's like, Ayanda, yes, you both are competing for senior partner. Even me, as a watcher, as somebody who knows nothing about law, I'm not a lawyer, I have never studied law. It was pretty clear that, you know what, this is a losing battle. And I feel like her having Knox as a client is actually ruining her chances, because you having clients that do silly things and stupid things, and clients who don't even listen to you and to your authority, sort of jeopardizes you, because then that increases your chances of losing. Because we also see this now, they're in court, invites her fans in there and they're rowdy, and the judge is like, I will not be disrespected in my courtroom. And Ayanda actually now comes up with an idea. You know what, let us give up, let us give them what they want. He says he wants ownership of your makeup brand. Okay, fine. But what we're gonna do, because social media is so powerful and your fans are gonna listen to everything that you say, you're gonna cancel this management company. You're gonna go online and you're gonna delete everything that has to do with SOA. It crumbles SOA. They lose 3 major clients, and they want to settle because he sees that in the long run this is gonna cost me, and so they win the case. Now let us go back to all the other tea that was happening in the office during this case. So we see Fez having a little love interest with Umto, who is Noktula's assistant, and they were having a little, flirtation. I enjoyed seeing him having like a love interest. It was fun just to see some light-hearted fun stuff in the office and not just serious cases. And then during the case, we also had Ayanda and James going off into the supply closet for their rendezvous, and Gugu wanted to go in there and she's looking for Ayanda as well. And James comes out and is like, oh, it's still occupied. And they're having a conversation. She's like, you know what, tell Ayanda that I'm going out to view apartments. James is like, oh yeah, that will be better for you, instead of the boyfriend driving you in that beat up car that's about to die any minute, and it will be within walking distance, so it should help you, right? And they're having a conversation about the boyfriend, and I don't know what else they spoke about, but the conversation ended with Gugu being like 130, but you're more like a 110. I was like, what is she talking about? Is she talking about his weight or what's going on? And then he's like, oh, you're talking about my IQ. And I was like, ooh. She's saying he's not as smart as he thinks he is. And Ayanda was inside the supply closet, and when she comes out, she suspects that something is going on between Gugu and James. Also, the way they were talking, it was sort of flirtatious, especially on James's side. Ayanda has that feeling that I have, that something is going on between these two, right? And now let us get into the drama. Thabo, when I catch you. So we see Gugu wanting to move, and they're viewing apartments, and Thabo's like, I thought we were going out for dinner, I didn't know that we're going to view apartments. And Gugu's like, I knew that you wouldn't agree if I told you. And they get into this fight now, because honestly, I'm with Thabo on this. That apartment that they looked at, it's fully furnished, but it was bland. It was dark, it was just gray. There was no color, there was no life in the apartment. But now there's a bigger issue, because Thabo, I think he is kind of insecure, and because his life is not moving forward as fast as Gugu's life is moving forward, or it's stagnant at some point, he now realizes that, okay, Gugu now works in Sandton and now she wants to move to Sandton. She's moving forward and I'm still in Tembisa. So in a way, he's trying to hold her back, even though he might not be doing it consciously, where he's doing it because he wants to punish her and control her. But subconsciously, he wants to hold her back. She's working in Sandton, but if she still lives in Tembisa, she's still in my world. She's still at my level. But if she moves to Sandton, then that means it's a different level now. And he went on a rampage and he's talking about, oh, what about your grandfather? And Gugu's like, well, my grandfather can come live with me if he wants. And that reveals a bigger problem, that he was trying to use Gugu's grandfather as a buffer. And he's like, you didn't even think of me. You didn't even think of what I would say. And I'm like, you are a boyfriend. Why should you have so much of a say in where Gugu lives, where she moves, especially because it's going to be beneficial to her to be closer to work? It's not like she was moving to a different country. She's just moving to Sandton, still in Joburg. And he apologized the next day and he offered to do her laundry and he drove in another person's car. But I don't think the issue is over and done with, and I still want to know who Dineo is. But yeah, guys, that was Law, Love and Betrayal season 1 episode 3, titled Fake Agent. I really enjoyed this episode. It was a bit of a slow one. There wasn't really a lot going on. Most of it centered around Knox's case, but I feel like I need them to take their time to build the story. And I like that it's just a story where we are seeing lawyers actually deal with their cases, and we're learning more about our justice system, and just a show like Suits, where there's not really a big storyline going on. There's no mystery that needs to be solved. It's just normal everyday things that are happening where they're going through different cases. And even though there are some storylines that are being built, but there's no one big plot point. You get what I'm trying to say? It was a slow one, but a good one. It's really doing well to develop the characters, and it's doing well to develop the chemistry between the characters and developing the roles that the characters play in each other's lives. And I can't wait to see more. I can't wait to see what happens in the next episode. After Gugu moves in, is she and James gonna get a bit cozy? Is he gonna drive her back from work because it's raining outside? I don't know. We don't know, but we're gonna have to wait and see. And yeah, guys, please do let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. What did you think of the episode? Let me know your predictions and your thoughts on what is gonna happen next. And I will see you guys in the next video.